What's up, A to Z Sports Live on a Monday, and man, do we have a lot to unpack with that Titans-Colts game on Sunday at Nissan Stadium. The Colts beating the Titans in overtime with a Michael Pittman touchdown, 31-28, the final score, in the first loss at Nissan Stadium in the 2023 season, and the Titans drop to 4-8, still unable to get back-to-back wins throughout this season. So we've got a lot to break down, a lot of people to blame, injuries really by the dozen, it felt like, for the Titans. And we've got some updates on a couple of those injuries so far this Monday morning, but a ton to pick about. And the title of today's show, I think, very important. Titans disaster versus the Colts proves Mike Vrabel can't keep ignoring a massive problem. Zach will go through all the negatives about the Titans yesterday. We also will spend a little bit of time talking about some positives, because there were really good things the Titans did, scoring 28 points against the Colts yesterday, but losing an OT. And then the age game to wrap us up on a Monday. So try to have some fun comedy at the end of a disaster of a show, a disaster of a game, recapping that from Sunday. But welcome in. Hope your weekend went better than Florida State fans did.
Yep, that's a tough one for old Florida State, but maybe we can talk about that. I actually think that was the correct decision. I think most of America believes that was the right choice, besides people in Tallahassee. So got two really good semifinals games. Had a good game yesterday. I mean, the Titans and the Colts game was entertaining. It had a lot of ups and downs. The result at the end for Titans fans was not what they wanted, as they moved to 4-8. And so there were repercussions based on that. But we're going to dive into all of those. And before we actually officially get started, we are broadcasting live on 3 different platforms, including Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. We will tweet out link by link, segment by segment, those links from our YouTube right there on our Twitter/X handle at A to Z Sports. So give us a follow there, a great follow over there on Twitter at ATOZ Sports. If you are watching on YouTube, make sure you subscribe. Just search A to Z Sports Nashville. That's the easiest way to find us there. That's probably the easiest way to view and interact on these live shows, whether it's the morning show or Bucks Prime Time or when Sam goes live. Get us locked right in there on our YouTube channel and subscribe today. If you've already subscribed, we thank you very much. The next time, if you've already subscribed, make sure you like this video. It helps the algorithm. It circulates everything so Titans fans, Colts fans, NFL fans can get in here and join the conversation. We value everybody's opinions. And so make sure you subscribe and or like on YouTube. Facebookers, what's going on Facebook? Bottom left corner of your screen, sharing out of public. Sharing is caring and caring is sharing, as we say on this show. So share the show around. We need to pop up in your Facebook friends news feed. And we can get this party started on a Monday morning as the Titans fall to the Colts once again this season.
Yep, we'll see it going officially. Welcome to the A to Z Sports, powered as always by the BetMGM app. I'm Austin Stanley. He is Zach Bingham. We are Nashville's on-demand sports talk network, going live weekday mornings at 8 Central Time on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Links to the show segment by segment on our Twitter X timeline. Also hit us up on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads for more great Titans content. We got to thank our sponsors because they make it happen for us, and they help out all of you, like Wilson County Hyundai and WilsonCountyHyundai.com, to make them a part of your new car buying process this holiday season. The Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. Farm Bureau Health Plans. Get better with Farm Bureau Health Plans at fbhp.com/ATOZ. The Aura app, protecting your information online, and get a 2-week free trial with our link, aura.com/ATOZ. And Krebs Kubota, an elite Kubota dealer with 3 locations in the mid-state to help you out with all of your equipment in Franklin, Murfreesboro, and in Columbia, online at KrebsKubota.com. Zach, the Titans swept by the Colts for the first time since Andrew Luck was still playing in the National Football League. That would have been 2018 when the Titans were swept by the Colts swept by the Colts yesterday in an overtime defeat, 31-28, with just about everything happening in a game. And let's go quickly to Titans linebacker Azeez Al-Shire. Just give us a good recap of what that locker room was dealing with and how bizarre that game was at Nissan Stadium on Sunday.
We talked about it all week. It was going to be a street fight, and that's exactly what it was. I mean, I saw things today that I don't think I've seen in a football game all at once. You know, like you literally saw.
You're just talking about the quirkiness of it, like
I'm just saying, like every possible NFL play that might have you seen on like Twitter or something, popped up today. From the interception that gets a forced fumble to a first down to the block punt for a touchdown to 2-point conversion back, like taking a 2-point back to like for a touchdown or for 2 points. It's like it was just crazy. Like so, yeah, it just sucks. There's a lot of emotion that goes into it, and so when you don't come out on top, it just it hurts for sure.
How much is, I guess, losing guys like Jeff and Derek over the course of the game, how much does that add on to it, of feeling like, guys keep dropping and you got to keep throwing punches?
I mean, that's the thing. We talked about it all week, and, it was just a huge thing that we knew. Like, we didn't know who it was going to be or what was going to happen, but we knew it was going to be haymakers back and forth. I mean, those two guys going down, those are some of the anchor points of our entire team, literally two of our captains. So those are some big shots. And guys stepped up and swung back, and I think that's what you see all the way into the very end. Like I said, it's tough for everybody.
For everybody, Azeez Al-Shar giving a really good quality game recap. I mean, there was a lot of wild things that we saw, and Azeez talking about punches, street fights, throwing haymakers, punching and swinging back. Looked like Azeez was doing a lot of punching himself. Look how swollen and beat up Azeez's hand looks from that video. I mean, that was a physical football game, and the Titans did a lot of good things, but a lot of bad things also were too catastrophic for the team to be able to overcome them. Zach, I did a post-game show live from Acme and had a heck of a day up there with a great crowd and great weather at Nissan Stadium in downtown Nashville with Jack. What was your thoughts? How are you feeling about this game and this team watching all of that? You haven't had a chance to really react yet.
Well, I think, you guys always do the one word. I don't know what your one word was, but, I woke up this morning and I always just go to like, how do I recap? How do I sum up the game? After a night's rest, it's not immediate reaction, it's post. And I felt like the perfect word for yesterday was diminishing, because the Titans lost on a lot of different levels, but they had the opportunity to win. Right? They had the opportunity to have Will Levis come back and actually, gain some confidence heading into the rest of the year. Well, that didn't happen. Then diminishing because they lose really three. You talk about 2 anchor points, really 3 anchor points. And I know we're going to get into the Stonehouse and the special teams dynamic, but Stonehouse goes out, Derrick Henry goes out, and Jeffrey Simmons goes out. And you're sitting here like, oh my gosh, what are they going to do on defense after Jeffrey Simmons goes out? They're actually pretty good. Besides some plays, right? Besides some plays, and we'll talk about those. When Derrick Henry goes out, oh, well, how's their offense actually going to perform? They scored some points, right? Like they moved the ball semi-well. Now, they didn't have the 2 touchdowns that Derrick Henry had in the first half were massive, right? We all know that. And then what it does to the season, right? You lose to an AFC South opponent. You lose to the Colts, as you alluded to, that they haven't really lost to twice in a season in a very long time. And then, we'll look at Miami on down the road in prime time, which is probably one of, if not the best in the AFC, right? That can score. And if you watch that game yesterday, Tyreek Hill is a problem. So diminishing on a lot of different levels. And as the dust settles, it's like you exhale and it's like, they were so close. They were so close. They played really good football at times, and then they played extremely bad football at times, and the bad ultimately cost them on all of those levels. And then the Colts, it's massive for the Colts because they were in a playoff spot right before the day started. They stay in that playoff spot, and the season is still ahead of them, where the Titans, I feel like they wake up today on a Monday morning and they're more picking up some pieces, right? And that's never good at the beginning of December. You want to win in December. You don't want to have to pick up pieces.
Yeah, and a lot of things to get to. You mentioned the 3 players that got hurt. If there are 3 guys most likely to make a Pro Bowl for the Tennessee Titans, all 3 of them got hurt yesterday. Derrick Henry is in concussion protocol. Adam Schefter confirmed that about 15 minutes ago. Who knows if he'll be able to play Monday night, but at least there's the extra day for that Dolphins game coming up. Jeffrey Simmons left with a knee injury. Jordan Schultz reported for Bleacher Report that is not serious. I saw Paul Kaharski also say that it will not end his season. And then you have Ryan Stonehouse that looks as bad as it could possibly look. And so still awaiting any updates about Ryan Stonehouse, the Titans' potential Pro Bowl and All-Pro record-setting punter in his second year. And we will have a lengthy, in-depth discussion about Craig Aukerman and the special teams play that was the difference of 10 points in about 3 plays in yesterday's game. But there was, and you talk about Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill, what's he going to do if Alec Pierce is burning you for 3 catches for over 100 yards and some big plays? We'll hear from Sean Murphy-Bunting and what he had to say about 2 back-to-back plays that broke the Titans. But first, I want to tell you guys all about Krebs Kubota. They are your preferred equipment provider and an elite Kubota dealer in Nashville and across Middle Tennessee. They have 3 locations across Middle Tennessee to make it convenient for you. Columbia, where it all started 18 years ago, and then they've expanded to Franklin and Murfreesboro. They are an elite Kubota dealer, which means they have the best equipment in the industry with Kubota brand and also the best warranties with that Kubota equipment as well. And the Krebs family name, I said they've been doing it for over 18 years. They've had so much success and they've treated their customers so well, they were able to expand their business from Columbia to Franklin and Murfreesboro stores. So this holiday season, if you're looking for that extra something for that project doer or outside on your property in your home, KrebsKubota.com is where to go.
A to Z Sports, we're powered by BetMGM. Download the app today. I had a pretty damn good weekend, and I came up college football in the championship Saturday and yesterday. I did pick those Dolphins over the Commanders, which made sense, made the Lions over the Saints, which made sense. And so had some good picks. 49ers won big. There were some good games yesterday. Got Monday Night Football tonight and a plethora of games. Now we start to get into the Saturday NFL action. So make sure you download that BetMGM app. Bonus code ATOZ Sports. Download the app today.
All right, so let's hear from Sean Murphy-Bunting. The Titans had a chance kicking a field goal in overtime and then got a sack on Gardner Minshew, but a illegal contact penalty was called on Sean Murphy-Bunting on Michael Pittman Jr. It was the only time illegal contact had been called. I know Mike Vrabel did not agree with the call. Neither did the Titans corner who got it called on him. And the very next play, Minshew to Pierce to the 2-yard line. Michael Pittman Jr. catches the game winner. Right after that, here is Sean Murphy-Bunting on back-to-back breaking plays for him.
I think, personally, it wasn't a good call. I think if you are a corner in this league, right, and you play a physical style of play, which I do, and you're going against a receiver who is physical, which he is, and he's 6'4", 220-pound guy, you expect to be able to put your hands on guys and be able to play through things. He had his hands on me. I had my hands on him. I thought it was a good rep, perfect technique rep, and they thought otherwise. So, I said earlier that it was a bad call. I still stand on that. But at the end of the day, that's just what they called. I got to live with it. And then the next play after that, I got an inside release fade, which is a tougher cover for a corner. He did a good job of stacking me and creating that space at the line and being able to get on top. And then he made an excellent catch at the end. Ball was placed perfectly, and I think that, just being in this league and being a competitive guy and now being in year 5, understanding that these guys get paid too and they make plays. And so ultimately, if I make a play or if I make that play, I think we win games like that. So that's what I have to do moving forward, right? I don't want to put my guys in a position to where we're on the 2-yard line.
So there's Sean Murphy-Bunting on those 2 plays. Look, taking accountability, giving credit to a nice throw by Minshew and Alec Pierce, who made a couple nice plays. Zach, it was over a calendar year or right out of calendar year since Alec Pierce scored a touchdown in the NFL. Another example of an NFL player getting right against the Titans this year that you can add to the list. Alec Pierce coming up big and having a career day. But Sean Murphy-Bunting didn't agree with the holding or the contact penalty there. Mike Vrabel didn't either. I mean, I think the refs missed a lot of calls on DeAndre Hopkins a couple times that could have been called that could have gone the Titans' way. They also missed a couple offsides against the Colts that could have been called. But the refs didn't have a great day, but that game was so wacky. There were so many other reasons why the Titans lost. and Sean Murphy bunting. I heard Kevin Dyson in Titans Talk back on the Zone as I was driving back from our show at Acme talk about how in that game situation, why was Sean Murphy bunting playing so aggressive on Alec Pierce in that coverage, knowing that you want the field goal as your friend and you want them to drive all the way down. You can't get beat over the top. I don't necessarily know what the coverage was, but I do know corners do have the flexibility and ability to make it their decision on how aggressive they want to play in certain coverages. And Sean Murphy bunting probably should have been less aggressive and less physical up at the line and got beat over the top because of it.
Well, I think hindsight will always tell you that, right? But as I thought, SMB was very honest and forthright on those last two calls. The illegal contact is up to the ref. I think it definitely could be. I also think that you could let it slide. So the ref, he made the call. It is what it is, right?
And Zach, we're both basketball guys. Like, how is the game being called the entire time? Like, if you can get away with a little bit of elbow and stuff down in the paint, then you know what this game has been. Vrabel was like, this is like play 150 of the game, and at the first time that they called illegal contact, it does feel a little bit ticky-tacky and a little bit disingenuous and inconsistent there.
Yeah, but at the same time, didn't cost them the game. What cost them the game were multiple plays, but really that big play. And what Sean Murphy bunting is essentially, at what we're hearing from what he's saying is, he got beat. And that happens, but that can't happen in that moment. And so I do agree with Dyson and that rule. And that thought process is you got to know where you are and where you are in the game and where you are on the field and what type of coverage are you choosing to play against a particular wide receiver. Like Pierce, that's a part of his game is deep routes. I mean,
the only part of his game
earlier in the game of how many deep go routes that he actually has ran. It was always like 130. Right? Plus, throughout the course of the season, hadn't completed a lot into touchdowns, but impactful in the moment and 55 yards in a key moment to get down within the 10-yard line to eventually score is detrimental to the team. So a massive play, and it's unfortunate because you had, we'll talk about the special teams because that is probably the most impactful because it was points, it was punter, it was impactful on field goals and our extra points, right? Like it had an impact. But at the end of the day, Titans fans, Mike Vrabel, and the Tennessee Titans football team, Will Levis included, they had every ability to win that game. They went into overtime. Okay, and I'm not even talking about the missed extra point, right, which they should have gone up 26-25 instead of 25-25. But in overtime, the coin, it's anybody's game, right? Before the coin is flipped, they won the coin toss. We want the ball, and we want to go down and score. They scored, but they didn't score the score to actually end the game. The Colts eventually did. And so
I just thought of something, and I hadn't thought about it until right now. They tied the game at 25 with the touchdown. They needed the extra point to take the lead. Now, hindsight, like you said earlier, is easy, right? Would it have made more sense to go for two? Like, I wonder what the headset conversation was on going for two, knowing that your holder, Ryan Stonehouse, was out, and that Ryan Tannehill, I don't know the last time he's held a field goal in his NFL career. I know he did it in college at Texas A&M. He was Randy Bullock's holder in college at A&M, but that was a decade plus ago. I mean, you're from the 2-yard line on the 2-point conversion, or you're kicking a 35-yard field goal with a guy who hasn't holding it down. I don't know.
Extra point.
Right? But
you kick the extra point. You have a veteran quarterback. You know what? I was getting frustrated, and I don't know if I was the only one. I hope I was not the only one. The broadcasters were driving me crazy. Tiki and Matt Ryan, could you not realize that the laces were on the inside of the hold? Like, they never once mentioned that. The laces were not on the outside facing, right? You want laces out, Dan, laces out. They never once said he spun the ball, and you could even read Ryan Tannehill's lips that he confirmed that afterwards. But it's like, look, guys, we're seeing the replay 50 times, and you can't bring out the point that he spun the ball not enough to have the laces fully out. The laces were facing Ryan Tannehill, and eventually, where did the ball go? The ball went left. That's the reason of the trajectory and the weight of the football. It was so, I was pulling out my hair being like, what? Just say what happened, because that was on Ryan Tannehill. I think we can all agree he'd take, I don't, they didn't interview him after the game, but
he wasn't available. Let me say this. Ryan Tannehill was not available because I texted Buck and Sam and said, we need to ask Ryan Tannehill question A, B, and C. And Tannehill was not in the locker room during that availability.
I was screaming at the television, being like, it's obvious of what had happened. But to what you were saying, Austin, you don't go for two. Well, you trust your veteran quarterback that even though he didn't have a lot of snaps, you trust that he can get that down. He didn't. It is what it is. You can't go back and do it. And you trust Nick Folk, who has been the most trustworthy thing of this entire team since he was traded in the offseason, right? So I don't think you go back and say, maybe we should have done it different.
But Hello Lady says, you take the effing lead. What the hell are you talking about, Austin? No, the game was tied. Like, Hello Lady's like, you tied it at 25.
But he's saying take the lead.
No, I know that. Like, but the lead could be, you already had it tied. You take the lead with the extra point, knowing your holder's out and there's some weird things happening. You get it from the 2-yard line. It's just a hypothetical that
the second hold that Tannehill did was perfect, right?
Like, I know. So, all right. So that kind of takes me to like, what was the worst thing aspect about that loss? So let's get to our question here. What was the worst aspect of the Titans overtime loss to the Indianapolis Colts? So Zach, before we get to everybody's comment on this, first tell us all about Farm Bureau Health Plans, which is a great decision that you made a couple of years ago.
Yeah, absolutely. Farm Bureau Health Plans I made that decision. You can make that same decision. It helps, and it helps me. It can help you. It can help you and your family. Health, dental, and vision. They've got tons of agents across the state, 200 plus locations. So if you need somebody to talk to actually, get this thing done, you can do it online, or you can go reach out to an agent. They've been doing it for over 75 years. I have them for my health plan. I'm really glad that I do. It was very simple. I took a quick health assessment. After they took my health assessment, I waited 24 to 48 hours. They gave me a health quote. That quote did a couple of things. It was less expensive than my previous health plan, and it was better coverage. It gave me the health, dental, and vision that I needed. It can be for you and your family. Farm Bureau Health Plans of Tennessee, they're trusted by A to Z Sports and a lot of individuals and businesses across the state of Tennessee. You could trust them too at FBHP. It's Farm Bureau Health Plans, FBHP.com/A to Z.
And with BetMGM, you had a great weekend. I did not. I lost a couple things. Josh Downs let me down, and the damn Steelers. All right. But anyway, BetMGM, you can win big.
Steelers.
Tried to go noon game parlay, and that I thought the Cardinals would have been better than that. Anyway, for me. But so code ATOZ Sports is where to go. Download the BetMGM app. Go big with your first bet, because the first bet offer when you sign up with bonus code ATOZ Sports gets you up to $1,500 back in bonus bets. When you sign up with BetMGM with bonus code ATOZ Sports, BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. 21 or older. Tennessee only new customer offer. All promotions subject to qualification of requirements. First online room money wager. Only rewards issued in novel bonus bets. Bonus bets expire 7 days. And for problem gambling support, call Tennessee Redline 800-889-9789. So Zach, we asked the question here. I'll send you to the chat, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. If you haven't done it yet, like the show. We need people to like the show. Hit the thumbs up button. But what was the worst aspect of the Titans' overtime loss to the Colts on Sunday? The worst aspect, guys, we will discuss Craig Aukerman's job security later in the show on its own segment. So worst aspect of the loss, Zach, I'll let you take it away.
If you go pin that comment that I just put in there, let's go all the way up. Worst blown covers right there. And maybe coverage. Coaching from Adam. Back-to-back block punts. Can't be anything else from Bork. Stonehouse, 2 block punts. 2 points does no good. Field goal still wins. Randy talking about our last discussion, extra point miss, right? So the worst point you could sit there, because that dynamically changes the game. 26-25, the Colts play different, the Titans play different, and let's just be honest, you're not going into overtime, right? Because you can't get 1 point without scoring 2, 3, or 6, right? So losing Stonehouse from IR, 2 block punts, the refs missing calls, special teams overall, talking about the worst part of yesterday's Titans lost, worst aspect, injuries to key players, talking about Simmons, talking about Stonehouse, talking about Henry, poor special teams protection, Craig Aukerman, and the special teams, Aukerman coming in there as well, not scoring a touchdown from Big Ten Jeff, who's a known Colts fan, who's pretty happy today because the Colts got the opportunity and they did what the Titans could not do, and that was score a touchdown in overtime, which wins you the game. No touchdown in overtime hurt the team from Dre. Several missed opportunities. Coaching from Jeremy. 2 blocked punts from Troy. Coaching from Cody. Losing the stars. Talking about the stars of the football team from Danny. Special teams. So, there is a lot of different comments that are peppering the chat. Austin, what was the worst thing in your opinion about yesterday's game?
The word I kind of have 2 because I had a new one this morning after we came up with the question, but you said your one word was what again from earlier in the show? What was your one word?
Diminishing.
Diminishing is a great word. My one word yesterday in the post-game show was mismanagement, because I think they mismanaged the game in the second half of that. You had a 17-13 lead at halftime. Zach, there was a point in the middle part of the game where the Colts outgained the Titans in yards 236-12. That's how mismanaged that game was at points. And that was pre both blocked punts. And so I think coaching management was the worst aspect of the game. But my new one I thought of this morning after we came up with the question, and this is a speculation, but it's something that I think is worth keeping an eye on long term. Ryan Stonehouse's injury and how that affects him moving forward in his career. We all know kickers and punters and long snappers are very mental, heady players. They have one job, and their job is to do that perfect every time, right? I don't know what Ryan Stonehouse's injury is, but on the replay that CBS showed about umpteen million times too many, it looked like he might have torn multiple things in his left knee. His left leg is his plant leg. It will always be his plant leg. His PTSD potential after this moving forward is fairly significant, I think. And he's had block punt before against the Saints the same way. They blocked the second one that he got hurt on, by the way. And Sam's working on that article right now for A2ZSports.com. It was an ugly injury. And for back-to-back block punts and to get hurt like that, where he could not get off the field on his own, he had to be helped to the sideline, carted to the locker room, and we're still awaiting the update from that. What is Ryan Stonehouse's PTSD level to stand back there for the next decade and punt footballs for the Titans with his left plant leg that just got demolished and shredded by the coaches and his teammates mismanaging their protection unit? It's something I'm very cautious of and I'm concerned about, because Ryan Stonehouse looks like he's Craig Hendrick, Brett Kern, Ryan Stonehouse, right? It's been an incredible run on punters for decade number 3, and you hope this doesn't ruin his psyche.
I think you bring up a lot of different things of fearing the worst, right? With the unknown. We don't know what the extent is, right? So we'll wait to hear on that. Around the league, you just listed all of the punters, right? The Titans fan base knows the impact of a really good punter, because that's the type of offense that the Titans have been forced to run for decades, besides 2020, when they were lights out on offense, the Titans traditionally don't score a lot of points. They run the football and play good defense. That's their philosophy. So when you run the football and play good defense, you control the clock and you control the line of scrimmage, you control the field. And the field has to do with the punter. So you've seen that thing on the internet, and I won't say the full word, when the interviewer's got a Stonehouse jersey on, and the guy's like, who's Stonehouse, right? If you ask Titans fans who Stonehouse is, they do look at you like you're an idiot. Everybody that's a Titans fan knows who Ryan Stonehouse is. Everybody knows who Brett Kern is. So the impact of that, I think, was huge. I think my worst overall, and it's more encompassing than singular, but it's the start of the second half. You're 17-13 going into halftime. You're leading, right? The Titans defense led up a 19-play, 70-yard drive. I mean, let's think about that, boys and girls, of how long that was to start. And then they gave up points because of it. They didn't give up at least 7. They gave up 3, but that was impactful. And then what did the Titans do? That they let the Colts essentially get back into the game, because let up a field goal to start the third quarter. They punted, block, punt, fumble, right? So that was the first 3 possessions. So you blink, you're up 17-13 at halftime, saying we're playing good ball. Our rookie quarterback is standing in there. There are some good things that we'll talk about here in a second, but the start of that second half is the reason what led them back into the game. A lot of things happened towards the end of it, but that, I think, was the worst for me, is from 17-13, you kind of blink. Now, time went by, but you blink, and all of a sudden it's 22-19 because of the 2-point run back. Then it's 25-19, right?
Yeah.
And so it's weird.
Yeah, but 10-minute drive is what you're talking about there too. Again, that was the stretch that I was saying at halftime. The Colts ended, since the Titans took a 17-7 lead, the Colts went and outgained the Titans 166-8 for the rest of the first half to get that 17-13 deficit closer. Right now, it was just 2 field goals, and the Titans got the fumble inside the 10 with Elijah Molden picking up the Danico strip. But so you had some good defense within that, but they couldn't get off the field. Penalties were absolutely a factor in some of that as well. So, look, we've got some super chats here. We will get to the best thing about that game, because there were some good things, and we still have a lot of Craig Aukerman to talk about. Maybe we can save the best thing, Zach, for tomorrow. We'll see how we're sitting here after we get to some super chats. But Andre says, another week to say it, bad coaching of a bad roster, no second half adjustments, score 17 and go conservative. Bad clock management. Bowen, Kelly, Aukerman, and the O-line coach need to go out. A lot there from Andre's $5 in the super chat.
I mean, that means you're starting over. I mean, you just fired the whole staff.
Yeah. I mean, minus Vrabel. Vrabel is not included in this.
Well, that's because the report says Vrabel's not going anywhere, which I've been saying that for some time now, everybody's trying to fire him. And then finally, thank you, Diana Rossini, for coming in here and solidifying what I've been telling the world for weeks now.
And who do we know to be, who do we think strongly to be Diana Rossini's source inside the Titans? Mike Vrabel.
Well, she's got more sources than just Mike.
Yeah,
Vrabel.
She's got multiple, but Mike Vrabel is definitely one of them. But on this, Tim Kelly being involved in this group, I don't think is necessary. Did they have a slow stretch? Sure. But why? I think a lot of those are because the offensive line gave up 6 sacks. The offensive line's bad. But you saw when they had to get a touchdown drive, they were down 6 points. They had no punter or holder, as we learned later. Derrick Henry goes out with a concussion early on that drive where you have to score. And Tim Kelly went deep into his bag, and it worked. Look, they got a pass interference to bail them out, but how many times have we seen Titans defenders get screwed by pass interference calls later in the game by the illegal contact, right? Tim Kelly's drive to score a touchdown in a must-have-it situation was impressive considering the level of difficulty. And they were great early. Derrick Henry was effective. Tajay Spears was just as effective when he was getting the lead role when Derrick Henry went out with a concussion. So, and Treylon Burks was out there knocking some of the rust off, but it didn't seem like there was much of a plan for Burks other than let him play some snaps, get a sweat in, and see how he feels afterwards. But I don't think Tim Kelly belongs in Andre Bunting's hate right there.
Yeah, the game plan was to protect Burks. So they did that, right? Because if he gets another concussion,
and I'm fine with that.
He's done, right? Like, I mean, you're going to have to sit him down for a year, right? So like you have to protect the player. So I didn't expect, I knew when I saw Burks was going to play, I was like, he's not going to do much. He didn't. I think the thing that let's go to the best, because I think we got to do both. We cannot just do one. There's too many bad things that happen, right? But there were good things that we need to recognize. So I don't know if you want to close out the super chats and then do it. I'll let you.
Yeah, we'll come back. The super chats will be very relevant when we talk about Craig Aukerman. So let's do what was the best aspect of the Titans' loss yesterday. But first, Aura is how you can stay safe online and protect all of your information. And it's easy to do with a couple clicks of the button, Aura.com/ATOZ. They are our sponsor. You get a 2-week free trial to protect your information online with Aura by going to our link, Aura.com/ATOZ. They identified 30 data brokers that were selling and profiting off of my information back in the spring. And in like 5 or 6 days, all 30 data brokers were gone. And I don't get spam calls. I get way less junk emails than I used to. And so I now spend less time cleaning that crap up because Aura is out there protecting me constantly. And they can do the same thing for you. And it's so easy. You go to Aura.com/ATOZ. You download the app and you sign up there for a 2-week free trial. But you have to use our link for our sponsor, Aura. That's Aura.com/ATOZ.
A to Z Sports, we are powered by BetMGM. This morning show is, we love BetMGM. Download the app today. ATOZ Sports. Use the bonus code. They are the king of the sports book. You can download in your Apple or Android app store. Get in on the action with BetMGM.
All right. So the best aspects of the Titans' loss to the Colts, I'll send you to the chat. What are the people saying about this? Monday, there's a lot of bad, a lot of negative, but there were good things in there.
Yeah. One is Spears. You've got Tajay Spears, which I definitely think 28 points right there from Mr. Robertson. Will Levis overall. Spears looked good from Danny. One of the few bright spots from yesterday. Levis building chemistry with Phillips, and they scratched him for a non-factor Burks. Good news. They have a better draft pick, which is not necessarily what we're asking. Top tier says running game. Levis and Spears. Tajay Spears. The O-line did okay. Ashley says Will Levis. The O-line looked much better for the most part. Some of those sacks were decision-making sacks, and that is on Will Levis. He's a rookie. He is going to look like a rookie because he is one, right? And
I'll say this, and Will Levis said it. Maybe we'll talk more about it yesterday, but he said it was his worst game in the 6 starts thus far.
Will Levis?
Will Levis said that. Maybe we can talk about that tomorrow.
I agree with him because of certain non-decisions that he made, right?
Yep.
And the non-decisions end up in sacks. And it's tough. It's hard. It's easier to criticize a veteran that had seen it before and making bad decisions. These are some of the first time he's ever made these decisions at this speed, at this rate. I'll just go ahead, and I think the best part actually has to do with Will Levis, and it's encompassing of there are some downfield throws that are also connected with the leadership that Will Levis shows.
Mm-hmm.
When you're yelling at a veteran wide receiver named DeAndre Hopkins, I love it. And I didn't think, oh, man, DeAndre is going to get offended by that. No, that is the communication that you have to have with your top receiver. And so I love the leadership of Will Levis. Was it the best game he's ever played? No, we've already seen the best game he's ever played. It was the first game he ever played, right? Mm-hmm. So we have a bar of how well he can actually play. He's got to get back to that bar at some point. But I like the leadership of a young quarterback. They need to get it done and score touchdowns at the end of the game when they need to score touchdowns, and especially in overtime. but I thought Will Levis's leadership, that's a positive in a demoralizing loss that affects your season and moves you to 4-8.
So that's your best thing? Or
yeah,
Will Levis's leadership. I think that's legit. I think the best thing for me was Tyjae Spears keeping pace and making plays, creating on his own. Tyjae Spears had some Allen Iverson stuff out there. Like, remember the play where it looked like he was dead in his tracks after getting the handoff? Quick B-button spin move up the field, gain 4 or 5 yards to put themselves in a situation where they could actually do something. Tyjae Spears was that dude yesterday. And there's a Derrick Henry conversation that we will have for the next 5 weeks before the potential of his last game under his contract as a Titans running back. But Tyjae Spears stepping up like that, Derrick Henry was Derrick Henry. That was vintage Derrick Henry, averaging 4.9 yards a carry, over 100 and 2 touchdowns. That's what Derrick Henry was from 2018 up until this year. And then Tyjae Spears came in there and kept pace, 4.7 yards per carry, made some plays in the pass game, catching the football. I can't remember what the play was. Maybe it was one of the plays down the field to D-Hop on the sideline in the second quarter, where Tyjae had a great chip helping out Jalen Duncan before releasing into the flats that allowed Will Levis to have that extra time. I thought Tyjae Spears was the best thing about that game. That guy can play. I just hope that knee holds up for as long as it possibly can, because it seems like he's somebody that his teammates have really attached themselves to with his level of dog and putting his face in the fire and going out there and getting every inch and every yard that he can.
Well, this is the next couple of years. It's going to be Will Levis and Tyjae Spears. They're going to have to get somebody at least next year to complement DeAndre Hopkins, because Traylon Burks and Kyle Phillips can't do that. Chig is trying, but he still has some things that are not what we thought Chig could be this year. The expectations were maybe too high going into this season for Okonkwo, but he caught more balls than he dropped, I feel like, but he's still dropping balls.
Yeah, and the one he dropped was not like the worst thing to happen. It was a behind the line of scrimmage, bailout throw, and it was fine to have no yards and the clock stopped in that spot. But Chig had 3 catches for 62 yards on 6 targets. All the pass plays that Levis had were pretty solid when it comes to chunks down the field, ones that he did connect to. But we'll talk more about Will Levis later on tomorrow's show. Let's get to a couple more super chats before we get into Craig Aukerman. Juan says Burks gets minimal play, yet the second guy Levis has chemistry with is Phillips is inactive. He wasn't hurt. Mike Vrabel kind of answered, but no answered why Kyle Phillips was inactive. And the question was asked, did Colton Dowell get in over Phillips? And Vrabel was kind of being his smart ass self saying, no, that's not what it was. It was that Colton Dowell plays special teams and Kyle Phillips doesn't because he can't catch punts. But Kyle Phillips out. Did that come into play? I don't know. But they have 48 guys they can dress, and numbers are a thing, and they needed Colton Dowell.
Well, real quick on that. That's why special teams matters to the Tennessee Titans when Mike Vrabel's the head coach, because Kyle Phillips plays in that game if he can return punts, right? If he's the punt returner, he's not inactive. There's no way that he's inactive.
Eric Garrett's down, and for Phillips, for sure.
Right, but Phillips can't. I mean, he's proven that. So you don't want him. So the value of Kyle Phillips, when you drafted him, what you drafted him for versus what his reality is now, is polar. I mean, it's a massive difference.
Yeah.
They didn't draft him to have him inactive, but he was. So
right.
I think that's a good point that the chat brings up that probably went under the radar yesterday, more so than the things that happened within the game.
All right. Kick of the King says 6 sacks given up. The O-line was not okay. Someone smoking. I think Will Levis also attributed to some of those sacks too, with not making decisions, as Zach said earlier. And then Kick of the King also says Kelly/Downing second half offense strikes again. Yeah, they were solid in the first half up until the last couple of first half possessions, and then slow starting in the second half right there. Then our Farouk says, can we talk about the bad calls all game? We talked about them some. D-Hop got held a couple times, didn't get a call. Sean Murphy-Bunting disagreed with the illegal contact penalty on him late. There was a couple others that you could nitpick there, a couple face masks that didn't get called on the Colts there as well. So let's talk about the biggest aspect of the game, the special teams of the Titans that had a 10-point swing involved. And Mike Vrabel was asked about Craig Aukerman in the post-game presser. We will have our full Craig Aukerman conversation with our question here. Do you think Mike Vrabel will fire special teams coordinator Craig Aukerman? Do you think Mike Vrabel will fire special teams coordinator Craig Aukerman? But first, the Bone and Joint Institute. All these injuries the Titans had on Sunday, you got to know where you can go whenever that injury happens in life. The Bone and Joint Institute is where to make sure you get it covered and you get back to health. boneandjointtn.org, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. They have their ultimate location in Franklin. All of the resources and specialists are right there under one roof. So go find them or any of their satellite clinics across Williamson County, boneandjointtn.org.
A to Z Sports, we are powered by BetMGM. Make sure you download the app today. Download the app today right here. BetMGM, they've got you covered, whether it is in your Apple or Android App Store. ATOZ Sports, use the bonus code. They're the king of the sports books.
All right, so let's hear from Mike Vrabel as we discuss the job security of Craig Aukerman. Here is Vrabel and Aukerman yesterday.
Craig wasn't ready in London when Phillips fielded that punt right before the half. And his unit today wasn't ready for either of those two situations. What's his culpability in those plays?
I don't know what culpability means, but we have to be better. Starts with me, making sure that everything that we do is sound, and there's a level of execution, and then obviously be able to identify whether we've got scheme issues, or we have to move some guys around, or make some minor adjustments. I mean, and that's the case in all three phases.
After you, what goes to the coordinator?
It all is on me. It starts with me, and again, when we lose, it's you put it on me. Obviously, that's not good enough. We know we have to be able to protect our punters, our kickers, our quarterbacks. So, we just lose games by having those things happen.
So there's Mike Vrabel discussing Craig Aukerman. Vrabel says it's all on him, but we're asking you guys now, do you think Mike Vrabel will fire special teams coordinator Craig Aukerman? Zach, I'll send you to the chat. We'll go back.
Well, let's play the video first before we ask the question. Let's go to actually what Mike Vrabel had said in the past, because I think this is important. Before we get to this question, we got to give all the information, which includes what Mike Vrabel said yesterday, who he did fall on the sword, right? But I think it's telling of what Mike Vrabel said a couple of weeks ago about coaching.
Thursday.
When it comes to not making changes on the coaching staff, you talk about, just going back out there and coaching it and repping it and things like that. What gives you the confidence that coaching it and repping it with the same coaches?
Because I have the luxury of having played this game in this league, and I know what we're coaching. I know what we're teaching. I never blamed Dean Pease or Matt Patricia or Bill Belichick or Romeo Crennel or Rob Ryan. I mean, I couldn't get to the pass rusher, or I missed a tackle, or I went the wrong way. And that's the luxury that I have. Never blamed a coach for my. Let me finish, and then you can interrupt me. And so I know what we're coaching, and I know what we're teaching. I'm in the meetings. We're going to continue to find ways to help our players, and to demand that they play with great effort and improve our details, improve our fundamentals, because I know that that's what works. Go ahead.
So that was 2 weeks ago today, November 20th, when Mike Vrabel said that he knows what they're coaching. They're not going to fire people in season because that's not how it should go as a coach and his experience as a player. But then Vrabel falling on the sword Sunday in the loss against the Colts on Craig Aukerman's unit. That, look, 10 points is what the special teams did in that game, swinging 10 points because the block punt touchdown that the Colts had, obviously the Titans got the 2-point run back after that. But then the very following fumble block punt where Stonehouse got hurt, then it resulted in a field goal for Indianapolis. And then Stonehouse's injury has the extra point sail wide left that could have been the game-winning extra point for the Titans in regulation. 10 points right there for the Titans special team. So will Mike Vrabel fire special teams coordinator Craig Aukerman? Zach, if you want to go to the chat, you can. If you have your opinions, go for it. But there's a lot of people saying fire Craig Aukerman, fire Craig Aukerman.
He is a part of the system, right? And the system dramatically failed yesterday. A part of it, right? So you go to, why did the system fail? Mike Vrabel is always going to fall on the sword and say, hey, it's my responsibility, right? So that's as a head coach, that's why he gets paid. That's why he's the face. If something goes wrong, ultimately it is on Mike Vrabel. But when it comes to special teams and back-to-back snafus that cost, and let's just be honest, it should have been more points if you don't get that, pick 2 that goes from instead of more points, it goes from 7 to 4, right? I mean, so you get that benefit, but that was unique, right? That was, I feel like, maybe more on the Colts of choosing that play to put them in that situation. So it could have been worse, but it is a part of the system. It is up to the special teams coach to make sure that after something goes awry, right? So after the first block punt, that should never happen the rest of the game, right? That may happen later on in the season. Teams get block punts, but it can't happen on back-to-back, because what do? After that block punt, you need to come back and you need to talk to everybody on special teams and say, look, this is what we have to do to sheer it up. Props to the special teams coach for the Colts, because what did they do? They said, all right, we're not going to go the traditional way that we just block the punt. We're going to bring our gunner down at the last second and come in and confuse the other team's special team. So should somebody be fired? I think
shout
at
out
this point,
Brian Mason. Shout out Brian Mason, Colts special teams coordinator, for just owning the Titans yesterday.
And he opened a lot of people's eyes to some problems that ultimately, and I think because Ryan Stonehouse injury, you put a key player, be it the punter, a key player on your team in an uncompromisable situation that eventually costs points. I mean, these are points. And so my answer is, should Craig Aukerman he should be relieved of his duties. I think that sends a message that when we mess up, your responsibility as a assistant coach is to correct that. Is it ultimately on Mike Vrabel? Yes, it is. But I think he should be fired. I don't think he's going to do that.
So
that's my answer to the question.
Is Vrabel going to fire him in season? I don't think so. I think other coaches around the league would make that move today. And I think the Titans would have made the playoffs last year if they fired Todd Downing in season instead of letting him ride it out. I do. I think they would have made some different moves. I think you would at least found out if Tim Kelly can do the job well enough or not in games rather than roll the dice next year. I think the same situation could occur right now. Who else could step up and help special teams to audition for the job after Craig Aukerman? Because let's be honest, this isn't like a single game issue for Craig Aukerman and the Titans special teams units. It's not. There's a long list with Craig Aukerman dating back to Adoree Jackson's mismanagement as a punt returner from the 2018 season and the 2019 season of Craig Aukerman rolling him out there time and time again, and the rotating door of bad punt returners who can't catch punts year after year after year, including this year. Not telling Kyle Phillips against the Ravens to not field the punt, let it go. That's on Craig Aukerman. Guess what happened in week 1, Zach? The Saints blocked a punt that looked exactly like the second one the Colts did yesterday. Gunner, blitz, off the edge, block. And Craig Aukerman said following that they got to get that cleaned up. And they didn't. They didn't clean it up. They lifted the rug and swept the dirt underneath the rug and put the rug down and said, look, Mom, clean my room. That's what they did here. They didn't clean up anything. And how about the brilliant chess move by the Colts special teams unit to set that up? Because what did they do? They went inside, then they went outside. I don't think they were expecting to get the first one blocked. I think that was a gift that they got. But this was a counter punch. This was a set them up with, just like you do play action passes. You go inside, you get through, you make him think a little bit. You tell Josh Wiley, hey, you got to make sure you get inside, because Josh Wiley's position is right there. He had to make that decision, inside or outside. So the first one, Josh Wiley let the guy go inside for the first block. The second one, Josh Wiley's so focused on going inside that the gunner blitz was timed up perfectly and got you out on the outside. And so here, how about this? Not just did they block the punt the same way the Saints did 2.5 months ago, how do they know how to time up that snap count so perfectly? Because that's also on Craig Aukerman to have that be so predictable. And so Craig Aukerman deserves to be fired today. Mike Vrabel will not do it, but he shouldn't have been the special teams coach for a while now, because it's not just the punt returner issues. It's not just the block punts that we've seen crop up this year. Craig Aukerman is now bailed out by Nick Folk, because remember the rotating doors of kickers, just like they had punt returners? They couldn't find anybody to make a damn kick. They couldn't find anybody to do that. How many times do they get special teams penalties on holds on, oh my God, they got a kick return outside past the 25. Oh, hold, 1st and 10 from the 12. Oh, good punt return by somebody that actually caught it. Oh, guess what? Block in the back, or you ran out of bounds and didn't get back in bounds. There's so many penalties and mistakes that get made on special teams over Craig Aukerman's tenure, and none of it's been fixed. The only thing that's been fixed is trading for Nick Folk and John Robinson picking Ryan Stonehouse as an undrafted free agent. It's those two guys are really good at what they do. That's the only thing that, and Brett Kern's a Hall of Fame level punter if they had a Hall of Fame for punters.
When they're able to do what they are good at doing.
Yeah.
Right. And that's why they weren't able to. When you watch the replay and that gunner starts sliding down, I think I said, I was like, hike it, snap it. And there's that half a second wait where he could time it perfectly and nobody blocked him. And it was just a clear path to go attack the punter. So yeah, I'm today at noon, Mike Vrabel speaks like he does on every Monday press conference. There is a lot to address, but he's going to have to give a different answer than it's my fault, right? It's my responsibility. I think that's probably warranted in a post-game press conference. We're not going to just fire him on the tarmac, right? That's not how it works. But now that you've kind of looked at it, seen what the systematic problem was, now I feel like you got to do something. But Austin, I think there's the justification of not doing it is like, what is it really worth at this point?
You find out somebody else, do you have somebody on staff you want to find more out of? I
don't think he's going to do that.
I know, which is just you're just going to delay the inevitable. I hate that. I hate delaying the inevitable.
He's notorious for delaying the inevitable.
It's bad. It's bad. Let's see. A chat I wanted to see here too. I think I lost it. Oh, Joe says, Austin and Zach, I think you guys could have gotten home on Aukerman's special teams unit. No disrespect to you, but total disrespect to Aukerman. Hey, I blocked 3 punts in high school. I know what I'm doing when it comes to blocking punts. That was something I did very well back in the day.
Stonehouse gets one away. I don't know.
No,
if he
I'm
gets
sure
to the ball
for sure. But no, it's all about the chess match. It's literally all about setting it up. It's because most likely you're going to force multiple punts in a game, and you've got players on that punt return unit that are your go get it type guys, and usually they work in a team of 2 or 3. How can I get the blocker to go this way where I can game you? It's just like defensive line stunts, but you've got to be really good at it, and you got to set them up, and you set them up starting from the first punt to the last punt. And the Titans would have won that game if Stonehouse would have gotten both punts off. I fully believe that.
Maybe it definitely impacted.
They would have, Zach. they would have won the game if Stonehouse would have punted the football.
There was a lot of left. It's hard to
Zach on the second block punt. On the
that.
second block punt, the Colts kicked the field goal after losing 4 yards. Like the Colts offense was not moving the ball to that point.
Yeah, but they moved it later. They had a 55-yard pass down the field to set up a game-winning touchdown.
Sure, but that,
you can't say that. That is too much.
They wouldn't have had that opportunity if Ryan Stonehouse successfully punted those.
There was plenty of time left to go in the game.
I know. But also, I want to say this one more time. Like, the Ryan Stonehouse injury is very unfortunate, and we hope it's as good as it can possibly be for Ryan Stonehouse on his left knee, his punt leg, all of that, right? But there are consequences and more accountability than just that's my fault, I'm sorry, on a player who is in a vulnerable situation as a punter to get hurt like that. That adds the insult to the actual injury.
The insult is twice.
And it's the fact that the Saints blocked a punt the same damn way in week 1. Craig Aukerman said that following Thursday, we'll get it cleaned up. Didn't get cleaned up. And now your punter's knee is going to have to get cleaned up in the surgery room coming up soon.
Before we get to our age game, Andre says, how many times has another coach found a weak spot and blatantly exploited it repeatedly? We say stay getting out-coached at multiple levels has to stop. And I think that's the sentiment that you're kind of preaching is that it's the old George W. Fool me once, don't fool me. Wait, is it fool me once? Fool me once, don't fool me again. You know, that's it. Fool me once, don't fool me twice. You can't have that happen, especially on special teams, because that is your centralized focus. So, hey, maybe Vrabel surprises us this week and makes a coaching move. He says that he doesn't do that, but
yeah, I mean, that's why you don't speak in absolutes. That's why Mike Vrabel is saying, I'm not going to make this in season. You just set yourself up to fail when something happens. It could be anything. Like, it could be anything. And Mike Vrabel's on record saying, I don't believe in firing coaches in season. He said 2 weeks ago today, I don't believe in firing coaches in season. You shouldn't say that. You shouldn't say that because now it's on you and you're going to have to contradict yourself when a legitimate circumstance pops up.
A problem.
Yes, exactly. All right. Are you ready, Zach, for this age game?
I am ready. Is the chat ready? And are you ready?
I think I'm ready.
Well, you had a week off, and I had to put Jake Hughes. I can't remember his last name. He had it in timeout because it was a bad circumstance. I had to play Daddy get in the corner. Jake tried a strategy and he got caught, which was he started right now just putting out numbers like 56, 74, 35. I caught his ass red-handed, put him in timeout. So, Jake, if you're here now, you can redeem yourself by not.
Did you unblock him?
Yeah. It was a 15-minute timeout. And so he's back, but we're not going to spoil suicides for everyone. Okay. If one guy messes up. So this is a new week. We got new standard and we got a good question.
Jake says, sorry.
Jake, your apology is accepted. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me. Right. Isn't that right? So,
all right, age game time. But first, quick shout out to our friends at Wilson County Hyundai. Make them a part of your new car buying process by going to see them in Lebanon or online at wilsoncountyhyundai.com. The end of the year is the perfect time to buy a new car. The last month of the year, people are trying to get their last sales and their last things off the lot, and Wilson County Hyundai can do that for you guys in getting you in the right vehicle by the end of the year for whatever your situation is at wilsoncountyhyundai.com. Zach, I have the chat hidden, so I am ready for the age game here on December 4th.
Yes, age game. So let's play the connect the dots game, and let's see who can get this correct. How this works is I give a figure, a person, a celebrity, whoever, and you've got to guess the age. This is not 1 off, 3 off. You have to get the exact year of their age at least. So tough weekend for the Florida State Seminoles. That made me think, oh, the old ball coach, the notorious ball coach. How old was Bobby Bowden when he died? That is the question. Bobby Bowden, who won so many games. And maybe if Bobby Bowden was coaching, maybe they would have won by more points than Louisville. Maybe they would have snuck in. But how old was the great late Bobby Bowden, who, when you think of Florida State, that's the only person I think of is Bobby Bowden, right? How old was Bobby when he passed away?
Was that earlier this year or last year? Can't remember.
I can't tell you the year.
Oh, I mean, that doesn't change my answer. I was just trying to, I don't know how long it's been since that. My gut, which I feel strongly about, is 84 years old. I think Bobby Bowden was 84.
Wow. Just right there. 84. Bobby Bowden was older. He was an older gentleman when he passed away. So
that has nothing to do with my age guess, right?
No,
you said older.
He's just older, you know.
Okay.
He's older. No,
yes.
Yeah. Just an older man when he died.
Right.
Let's go to the chat and let's see if anybody agrees with Austin and maybe gets it correct. Your final guess was
84.
84. IR goes with 78. Too young. He was older than that. Bort goes 78. Too young. He was older than that. Steven goes 88. That is incorrect. Lucas goes 88. That is incorrect. Jake, your boy Jake, he goes 84 and tries to agree with Austin. Now, wouldn't this be something if Austin and Jake completely comes back and wins this age game the week after he tries to rob everybody of the fun of this age game? Unfortunately, it is incorrect. Steven goes 76. That's wrong. Ashley, so close at 90.
You teased me.
Ashley, that is incorrect. 87, that's wrong. 78, that is wrong. We do have a winner with 82? Old Joe Esposito. Joe, way to go, Joe. Joe gets this correct. Bobby Bowden, long life. At age 91, passed away August 8th, 2021. He was 91 years of age, which I found baffling when I made this question up this morning. 91 years young.
First of all, it was over 2 years ago. Holy crap. Time goes by fast. I did not, man. Somebody
1929. Which is, I mean, it's a test. I mean, that's a good long life.
You've seen some stuff, right? There's a lot of stuff that he would live through. Man.
COVID included.
And he didn't quite get the Spanish flu, but he wasn't too far away from it too. Man, did Bobby Knight die at 84?
We already did Bobby Knight, didn't we?
I don't think so. He just passed away.
Bobby Knight was, let's see here. Bobby Knight was 83.
Dang it. Somebody died at 84 in the sports world, and it's going to drive me in the last couple of years.
I don't know. Was it Bill Russell?
No.
He lived a long life. Well, hey, Joe Esposito, congratulations. You are our champion, our champion of the week. And we are doing something special on this Monday, December 4th, 2023 that we don't do. We don't just throw this thing out. This is special for the winner of the age game on this Monday, this special particular Monday. And Joe, you know what we're going to do? We, as a company, are going to give you 40% off all of our merch. You can get yours today. I've already gone into the algorithm. I've already changed all of them. If you go to shop.A2ZSportsNashville.com, you can get t-shirts, you can get hats, you can get long sleeve shirts. You can even get this pullover, this A to Z Sports pullover, Joe. You can rock the A to Z Sports brand as our champion on this December 4th of the age game for 40% off. We're doing this exclusively for you, Joe. Anybody can go check out the website if you want, but shop.azsportsnational.com. Congratulations to Joe Esposito.
Yeah, big deal right there. Big deal. All right, guys, we need people to like the show more, or a lot more, are watching right now who have hit that like button. So we need you to hit the like button, please. Sam has an update with Titans at 2 coming up later this afternoon after Mike Vrabel's press conference, which is at noon. So Sam will hustle over to Doughbird in Green Hills for that. And then Buck Rising live tonight for A to Z Sports Primetime. Once again, hit that like button. We need you to hit the like button. Please subscribe to our channel. But the like button's a big deal for us. So please do that for us. What are you holding out for? It's just a like button. You'll be fine. You'll forget about it after you do it. So thanks again. We'll see you guys tomorrow morning on a Tuesday. Appreciate it as always.
Adios.